Hi guys, so today Lexi and I are going to be talking about signal transduction and its applications in biology.
So, as an overview, signal transduction is the process where a certain signal is converted into another signal. So, for example, a cell phone can receive a radio signal and convert it into a sound signal, or a target cell can convert an extracellular signal into an intracellular signal.
Exactly, so there are three parts to a signal transduction pathway. You have reception, transduction, and the response. So reception is when a protein obtains a chemical signal from the outside of a cell over here. And transduction in the middle step, is when the protein might change and create a signal transduction pathway. And then the response is pretty much any cellular activity that comes from the pathway's actions.
So, there are usually two different types of signal transduction pathways, ones that modify or change the shape of a protein, and ones that lead to a phosphorylation cascade. Basically, a message comes into the cell and hits the receptor, and the receptor's shape will change. This will lead to transduction. This converts the extracellular message to an intracellular message.
Right, so there are also things called secondary messengers. And so basically, the message comes into the cell receptor, and the shape will change as, like she mentioned. And so this it leads to transduction, which converts the extracellular message to an intracellular message. So secondary messengers are used to target the cells that further pass along the signal. So some of these include amino acids, peptides, proteins, fatty acids, lipids, nucleosides, and nucleotides.
So this here is an example of a signal transduction pathway using epinephrine and how it can affect the liver cell. So epinephrine will be considered the messenger from the adrenal gland, aka the ligand, and it's going to bind with the G protein that is embedded in the membrane. When the ligand binds with the protein shape will release something called an alpha subunit. This alpha subunit will go to the following protein on the membrane, known as adenylyl cyclase. The adenylyl cyclase converts ATP into cyclic AMP, also known as CAMP, a secondary messenger. These secondary messengers are set to target the protein kinase. Once they bind to the protein kinase, there is a phosphorylation cascade. Sometimes a subunit of the now activated protein kinase will bind to the phosphorylase and activate it to release glucose from glycogen in the cell.
Yeah. So calcium ions are also a very well-known secondary messenger. So in most cells, the concentration of calcium ions located in the cytosol is very low. So uphill signaling events release a certain ligand that binds to the ligand-gated calcium ion channels and opens the gates to allow more calcium ions into the cytoplasm from outside of the cell. So that's our general overview of signal transduction in biology, and we hope you enjoyed.